Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Thursday, September 26, 2024, and these are your Unbiased Updates. All eyes are on Helene. The hurricane is strengthening on its way to Florida. It is projected to become a Category 4 storm. We'll bring you the updated forecast. And before Ukrainian President Zelensky's visit to the White House today, we have a preview of the victory plan he will share with President Biden.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. These are today's Unbiased Updates.
We begin this morning with the latest on Hurricane Helene, which is barreling toward Florida. The Category 1 hurricane expected to rapidly intensify before making landfall in Florida's Big Bend area this evening. Evacuation orders have been in place in multiple counties since yesterday, and the National Weather Service is warning, quote, a catastrophic and deadly storm surge is likely. 20 feet or more in some places. That's like a two-story building. The National Hurricane Center saying Helene is expected to be a major hurricane when it hits Florida, possibly even a Category 4 storm. Colleges and airports are now closed in parts of Florida. While the storm is expected to weaken after making landfall, meteorologists say its damaging winds will likely be felt well inland. A grand jury has indicted New York City Mayor Eric Adams on at least one federal criminal charge. Sources familiar with the matter told the New York Times. This comes as Adams has been under federal investigation for months over his alleged connection to Turkish officials and businessmen, as well as campaign donations he supposedly received. However, we do not yet know the exact charges that Adams will be facing. Once the indictment is unsealed, Adams will become the first mayor of New York City to face a federal charge while in office. Previously, Adams has denied any wrongdoing, saying it's political payback for his complaining about the migrant crisis in New York City. On Wednesday night, he vowed to stay in office and fight the charges.
Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit. If I'm charged, I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor.
Once charged, it is not clear yet when he would surrender to authorities. In Washington, Congress has passed a temporary measure to keep the government from shutting down for at least another 3 months. The spending bill will keep government agencies funded at their current level until at least December 20th. It also sets aside an extra $231 million to bolster the Secret Service in the wake of 2 assassination attempts on former President Donald Trump. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson claimed, in many senses, his hands were tied.
While continuing resolutions are never ideal, none of us like them, it's not a way to run a railroad, it allows Congress to continue serving the American people through the election. This is not the House's fault, it's the Senate's fault. They passed not a single appropriations bill, so there was nothing for the 2 chambers to negotiate in the end, and there was no agreement on the top-line spending number. So we had no choice.
Over in the Senate, the bill passed by a 78-18 margin. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer saying Americans can breathe easy because both sides have chosen bipartisanship. Congress is getting the job done. The bill now heads to President Biden's desk for his signature. A day after delivering a speech before the United Nations General Assembly, Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is taking a trip to Washington, D.C., where he'll meet with President Biden at the White House to discuss what he's calling his victory plan for his country's ongoing war against Russia. While the specifics of the plan are still unknown, the Associated Press reports it includes the guarantee of NATO membership for Ukraine and permission to use long-range weapons to strike deep inside Russian territory. The plan also will seek to bolster Ukraine's defenses and increase sanctions against Russia. On Wednesday, President Biden met with Zelenskyy on the sidelines of the UN, where the White House says Biden informed Zelenskyy he will be directing a surge of security assistance to Ukraine. While in Washington, Zelenskyy is also scheduled to meet with Vice President Kamala Harris and a group of bipartisan senators. Zelenskyy was expected to meet with former President Donald Trump this week, but reports are now saying that is no longer likely. At a campaign stop in North Carolina, Trump said Ukraine is now absolutely obliterated due to the war. And now to talks on a ceasefire in the Middle East. This one between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon. The U.S. calling for a 21-day ceasefire across the Israel-Lebanon border. In a statement, the White House saying the ceasefire would, quote, provide space for diplomacy, adding the situation between Lebanon and Israel is intolerable and presents an unacceptable risk of a broader regional escalation. The deal is supported by American allies, including Australia, Canada, France, Germany, and Saudi Arabia, the UK, and Qatar. The Lebanese prime minister telling Reuters he has hopes a ceasefire could be reached soon. But the fighting continued overnight as the Israeli army says it struck 75 Hezbollah targets, including storage facilities for weapons. This followed strikes on Wednesday that killed at least 72 people, according to the Lebanese health ministry. There are also reports that Israel is now preparing to launch a ground assault. Finally this morning, one of the biggest companies in the world of artificial intelligence, OpenAI, is undergoing some real change. Its chief technology officer, Mira Murati, who helped develop the company's chatbot ChatGPT, resigned on Wednesday, followed by word that its chief research officer and a research vice president were also leaving. The departures come amid reports that the company is planning to switch from being a nonprofit organization to a for-profit one, making it more appealing to investors. There would still be a nonprofit segment that would pursue charitable goals and own a stake in the company. CEO Sam Altman would also own a chunk of the company. This transition, however, would take years to complete. These changes come as OpenAI is reportedly pursuing a funding round that would value the company at more than $150 billion. These are your unbiased updates for Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.